I'm Timothy Vigil, and this is Just Another Word, the Word of the Day podcast for storytellers. Episode 31, Haptic, of or relating to the sense of touch. We've reached the end of this 5-part mini-series on the 5 senses. We've breathed the petrichor, seen the nacreous light, heard the susurrus in the trees, and tasted the acerbic bite of the world. But today we finish with the sense that grounds us in our own skin. It is the sense that confirms reality. Touch. And our final word, haptic. Let's look at the word haptic, and a little bit about its evolution. It comes from Greek and originally just meant the ability to touch or grasping. It's a word that has been outside of the zeitgeist for millennia. In fact, for most of history, it was just a niche scientific term, but recently technology has dragged it into our daily vocabulary. We talk about haptic feedback on our phones, that buzzing vibration that mimics the click of a physical button. And because of this, the word has taken on a modern, almost electric energy. It suggests a touch that is responsive, intentional, and communicative. The word itself is very interesting phonetically. It's sturdy. It's a physical word. It starts with that breathy H sound, like a hand reaching out, and it ends with that sharp percussive tick. It feels like a contact point. It's a word that describes not just the act of touching, but the feedback we get from it. In narrative, touch is about awareness, in the same way that it is in the real world. You touch things in the dark to make sure you know what's around you. You touch or feel objects to see how you like them. We are aware that things feel off if they're slimy or sticky. It gives us a sense of what is right and wrong and what is going on in the world. And this is the haptic secret. Touch is not just about what your skin feels. The word haptic is also about your body's awareness of its own movement and its own position. It's the sensation of the weight of a sword in your hand, the resistance of a heavy door, or the way that floorboards give slightly under your feet. Haptic description and writing should go beyond the surface. It's a great analogy for how we handle or how we should handle touch in our prose. When a character touches an object, we want to know more than just its texture. We want to know how the object responds to them. You could say that the table was smooth, but a haptic approach would be to say the wood was cool and slick, offering no resistance as her hand glided across it. We're going beyond the surface of touch and looking at the way that it feels. And that's really what sense is about. It's not just the physical sensation, but it's about the emotional reaction that it gives to us. Think of this. You could say the handle was cold. Or you could say the iron bit into his palm, a sharp, numbing cold that felt like a warning. We get this sense from the person, the sense of what is going on. It's not just that, oh, it was cold. It felt like a warning. There was a emotional reaction. The last example I'll say is you could write, he felt the wind. Or you could write, the gale pushed against his chest, a heavy, invisible hand trying to force him back. You have now personified the wind. The wind is touching the person, but now it is touching the person. It has intention. The wind has some level of volition. Saying something smooth or rough isn't necessarily bad. These words have their place. But when we want something to feel, when we want it to be haptic, when we want it to remind us of something, we have to tell what that touch represents to the character and what it reminds them of. You have to connect the physical sensation to a memory or a physical reaction. Don't just describe an object's appearance, describe its haptic weight. How does it change the way a character moves? A heavy bag doesn't just look big, it pulls on the shoulder. It changes the rhythm of a character's walk. What is this doing to the situation? Is this new item that they have to carry around affecting them in some way? Is this new barrier they have to push through affecting them? Treat every touch as a conversation. When a character sits on an old sofa, does it swallow them? Does it creak in protest? Feedback is what makes the setting feel like a living and breathing part of the world. You want the objects to feel like participants in a scene, not just set dressing. Now, you don't want to do this in every single situation. Sometimes a character just sits down. But use it. Use that sitting down where you should to increase tension, to create a sense of comfort. Whatever it may be, look at the way that the objects, that the environment is responding to the character's presence and put that in. Lastly, let's look at the emotional feedback. Using touch to ground high emotion scenes. In a moment of panic, a character might grip a railing so hard, the feedback of the cold steel is the only thing keeping them in the present moment. Touch is a powerful way to ground a character and the reader. When something so overwhelming is happening, the thing they are physically touching can be the last thing holding them into the moment. Haptic is the kind of word that I wouldn't use in a story unless I was telling one in the present day or perhaps a piece of science fiction. But the way that we use touch in our writing should be haptic in nature. We should be describing the feedback that the touch has. We should be defining the movement connected to our touch. It's more than just the movement of an object. It's the physical connection of the world. Haptic reminds us we aren't just observers of our worlds. We're participants in them, and so should your characters. Touch is the sense that proves we are really here and that they are really there. So in your next draft, don't just tell us what things look like or what they feel like. Tell us how they push back. Use touch to give your readers a sense of weight, resistance, and connection. I'm Timothy Vigil, and this has been Just Another Word. Happy writing.